Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Lindsay Davis, and you're watching our in-depth coverage of one of the most serious and rapidly evolving geopolitical crises in the world today, the escalating conflict involving Iran, the United States, and regional powers. Tonight, global tension is intensifying as new developments suggest that the situation could be moving toward a dangerous new phase. Reports indicate that hundreds of American paratroopers are being deployed toward the Middle East, raising urgent questions about whether the United States is preparing for a deeper military role in the region. At the center of this crisis lies the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. This narrow passage connects the Persian Gulf to international waters and carries roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply. Any disruption here has immediate global consequences, from rising fuel prices to economic instability. In recent weeks, tensions have escalated sharply. Iran has previously restricted or threatened shipping routes through the strait, while the United States and its allies have increased military pressure in response. The result is a fragile and highly volatile situation, where even a small miscalculation could trigger wider conflict. Former President Donald Trump has once again taken a strong stance, issuing a renewed warning to Iran. He has extended a deadline, now set just after Easter, demanding that Iran allow full access through the Strait of Hormuz. According to his statements, failure to comply could lead to significant military action targeting critical infrastructure. At the same time, mixed signals are emerging regarding diplomacy. While indirect communication channels reportedly exist, including messages relayed through third-party countries, both sides publicly deny engaging in formal negotiations. Trump has emphasized that he is not urgently seeking a deal, presenting his position as one of strength rather than compromise. Meanwhile, global markets are already reacting to the uncertainty. Stock indexes in the United States have experienced noticeable declines, reflecting investor concern over prolonged instability. Energy markets in particular are under pressure. Reuters/Barclays sees 14 million BPD oil supply loss, prolonged Hormuz disruption. Reuters. Trump suggests that Iran let 10 oil tankers through Strait Hormuz. The Guardian. Malaysian vessels permitted to travel through Strait of Hormuz, country's PM says after talks with Iran. New York Post. U.S. inflation will soar to 4.2 if Iran war drags on, says OECD. Recent reports suggest that a prolonged disruption in the Strait of Hormuz could remove up to 13 to 14 million barrels of oil per day from global supply. That kind of shock would have far-reaching consequences, potentially pushing oil prices above $100 per barrel and fueling inflation worldwide. Some countries are already feeling the effects. Several nations have had to negotiate directly with Iran just to allow their oil tankers safe passage. This highlights the growing influence Iran holds over this critical maritime route. Back in Washington, concerns are rising among lawmakers from both political parties. On Capitol Hill, officials are questioning whether the United States is moving toward deploying ground troops inside Iran, a step that would mark a major escalation. Some members of Congress have expressed unease, stating that any decision to send American forces into active combat zones must involve clear consultation with lawmakers. The possibility of boots on the ground remains one of the most sensitive and controversial aspects of the current situation. Military analysts suggest that while a full-scale invasion is unlikely, limited operations cannot be ruled out. These could include targeted missions, special operations, or efforts to secure key strategic niqat, particularly near the Strait of Hormuz. In the Middle East, the situation remains extremely tense. Israeli officials have claimed responsibility for eliminating a high-ranking Iranian naval commander believed to be involved in controlling maritime operations in the strait. While such claims are difficult to independently verify, they underscore the intensity of ongoing military activity. At the same time, reports indicate that Iran has launched multiple missile strikes across the region, targeting locations linked to its adversaries. These attacks have contributed to a cycle of escalation, with each side responding to the other's actions. One particularly alarming development involves reports of a missile coming dangerously close to a U.S. fighter jet operating over Iranian territory. While officials state that no aircraft were shot down, the incident highlights just how close the situation is to direct confrontation between major military powers. Experts warn that Israel may be attempting to maximize its military advantage before any potential ceasefire agreement is reached. By targeting strategic assets now, Israel could weaken Iran's capabilities ahead of any diplomatic resolution. Adding another layer of complexity, geopolitical dynamics beyond the region are also playing a role. Some analysts believe that countries like Russia may be indirectly supporting Iran, although official denials continue. If true, such involvement could further complicate efforts to de-escalate the crisis. At the same time, the ongoing war in Ukraine remains connected to the situation. There are growing concerns that U.S. military resources could be stretched between multiple conflict zones, potentially affecting global security. Inside Iran, the human impact of the conflict is becoming increasingly clear. Civilians are facing uncertainty, fear, and rapidly changing conditions. Infrastructure damage, economic disruption, and limited access to resources are all contributing to a sense of instability. For many Iranians, the concern is not only about the present conflict, but also about what comes next. Questions about governance, economic recovery, and social conditions remain unanswered. Some fear that even after the fighting ends, the situation could remain difficult or even worsen. Voices from within Iran describe a complex and evolving reality. People are worried about military strikes, but they are also concerned about internal challenges, including economic hardship and political uncertainty. At the same time, there is a wide range of opinions among the population. Some hope that the conflict could lead to change, while others fear it could bring more instability. This diversity of perspectives reflects the complicated nature of life inside a country experiencing both internal and external pressures. Beyond Iran's borders, the Iranian diaspora is also feeling the emotional weight of the conflict. For many Iranian Americans and others living abroad, the crisis is deeply personal. In cities like New York, cultural events and gatherings are taking on new meaning. Celebrations of traditional festivals, such as Nowruz, the Persian New Year, are becoming moments of connection, resilience, and emotional support. These gatherings provide a sense of community during a time of uncertainty. Music, dance, and cultural traditions are helping people stay connected to their roots while coping with the stress of watching events unfold from afar. For younger generations, especially those born outside Iran, these moments are also an opportunity to reconnect with their heritage. Social media creators and community organizers are playing a key role in bringing people together and preserving cultural identity. In many ways, these cultural expressions serve as a form of quiet resistance, a way of maintaining hope and unity in the face of adversity. Back on the global stage, economic concerns continue to grow. Analysts warn that prolonged conflict could push inflation higher, particularly in countries heavily dependent on imported energy. Shipping disruptions, rising insurance costs, and supply chain interruptions are already being felt across industries. If the situation continues to escalate, the economic impact could extend far beyond the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz remains the focal point of these concerns. Because such a large portion of the world's oil passes through this narrow route, even temporary disruptions can have immediate global effects. In fact, some reports suggest that parts of the strait have already experienced partial closures or restricted access, further increasing tensions. Looking ahead, the coming days and weeks will be critical. Key questions remain unanswered. Will diplomatic efforts succeed in reducing tensions? Could military escalation lead to a broader regional war? And what role will global powers play in shaping the outcome? For now, the situation remains highly fluid. Leaders across the world are closely monitoring developments, while military forces remain on alert. One thing is clear: this is not just a regional conflict. The implications are global, affecting energy markets, international security, and the mustakbel of millions of people. As events continue to unfold, we will keep you updated with the latest information, analysis, and on-the-ground reporting. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us for continuing coverage of this developing story.